everybody. Welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League, the podcast that always feels like a big carnival garden party outside of a tent. I am your host, Commissioner Mike Cablon. With me are my co-hosts, Sierra Kato and Iffy Wadiway. What was that big, deep sigh to start with?
You know, when you just watch such a bright star fizzle so hard.
Boy.
Oh,
boy.
Such talent.
Well,
still.
you know, for anyone who is a fan of this podcast, a fan of competition cooking shows, and a fan of sports, this is like
You've
a
described
clear.
3 people.
Yeah. This is the clear, like, choked in the finals
Truly.
type
Yeah.
situation.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why the last episode where Georgie really choked, I was kind of like, oh, maybe she got it out of her system. Like you do kind of have to choke, I guess, at some point.
And
but
it's better to get it out early than later on.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect, to our champion, but I don't think Georgie was on any of ours list for the taking the crown.
Okay.
So you're saying
not me personally, but so Val put her money on Georgie.
Really?
Oh, cool.
So before we started this episode, who did you think was going to win? Val in her notes wrote Georgie.
Before the episode, wow.
Yeah.
Before the
I
episode.
mean, I really.
Well,
thought
I meant from the beginning.
Oh, from the
right.
beginning, I don't think anyone would have.
I know Georgie was really kind of a breakout star, like truly had an arc. Even Christian, who
Yeah.
the sewing machine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I thought for sure. Well, outside of Dylan, Dylan was such a star throughout,
Yeah.
and then but Georgie was strong throughout. I think because of the Christian momentum, and that was it was a fun 3. There was
really
definitely
fun.
some equal
Yeah.
shared possibility for each. But yeah, I don't know if I would have thought towards the end Georgie, but I mean, whatever. I had picked her at least. I think I picked Jill first and then her.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I think that's correct. I think that Georgie was like a good second-round pick. You know what I mean?
Cool.
She is not an all-star through and through, but
but really
a solid
did what needed to be
performer.
done.
Yeah.
And something we're learning on this show, that sometimes it's all about just the follow-through. It's not necessarily being
Yes.
the brightest star. Yeah, I was definitely thinking Dylan had it. I
did
truly thought he had it in the bag. And you want to know the exact moment I knew that wasn't going to happen?
Boy, here we go.
One thing I've learned about GBBO is that they love to foreshadow. And the moment they're like, sometimes you can get in your own head and I was like, here it is.
Oh,
Dylan
yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
He lost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
The one thing that's interesting about this show is they're good about not. I wasn't able to guess too much always the ending. Like, I feel like MasterChef, which we watch, it's like they kind of have the formula and they'd set one up and da-da-da. But I feel like overall they were pretty good about breaking it and maybe even predicting it and telling us, but not necessarily doing the same thing over and over again or
Yeah.
overproducing it to a point
Yeah.
where it's like, well, I can see between the lines here.
I was just talking about this right before we started recording, but I'm still in the middle of watching Culinary Class Wars. And it's interesting to watch international reality competition shows because you do see differential in the styles.
Yeah.
Just between watching an American cooking show and a British cooking show, it's like you said, it's like America is so obsessed with hit you over the head kind of narrative that you're like, I know where this is going. I can guess because you're pointing toward it. You know what I mean? Whereas British television, there's a little bit more just we can dial up the tension, we make you think whatever we want to think. And then Korean television is this entirely different thing also.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, Iffy, welcome back. You were out last week.
Yes.
And you texted us this week that you had really hot takes on the week you were out.
Oh,
So to remind you, Jill was eliminated last week.
Oh, my gosh.
Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I was just losing my mind at Georgie almost throwing in the towel.
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
And that was such a big moment. And for Georgie to kind of break out, and do well.
Yeah.
It was so wild. And Dylan was looking all right, but Christian holding out, it was truly a surprise. Jill was kind of I did not expect Jill to get sniped the way that she did, but I see why.
Yeah.
And I think it was right in the line. It was just didn't have the bake.
Yeah, she did about as well as because this happens in American shows like Top Chef all the time, where it's you watch someone ride the middle and you think they can't make it all the way.
Yeah.
They simply can't.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that was Jill to a T.
Time is up, Jill.
Also-
and she was like, I know.
Speaking of Jill's and I say this not as a diss, more as admiring how everyone for the final episode, all the contestants come back and they're gussied up, and Jill is just in a shirt.
Still
No,
in
this
a
is what we
t-shirt
love
and
about her.
jeans. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is why she's so strong.
The
She's goals.
collar's kind of crumpled. I was like,
Yep.
this is like the every woman, like just
Yep.
at the pub with
Right,
her
right.
dog, could give a shit about a garden party. She's like, shit, when can I get out of here and watch the game?
That was good.
Yeah,
thank
It's
you.
like Jill was here with us.
Yeah, Jill doesn't have time to steam her collar. She's
Yeah.
fucking watching the game.
Yes.
Okay, folks, a few housekeeping things before we get started. We have merch now. If you go to MaximumFun.org, you can check out the store. You can buy a T-shirt or an apron or a tank top that says Cake Dom on it.
Hell yeah.
Last week we were like, we'll put the clip online, and then I just forgot to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, I realized the clip is online. It's
Oh, okay.
So I might do a recut, you know,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
really
yeah.
enhance the Cake Dom portion of the clip. But
Yeah.
it's online. It's the one where you're talking about confidence.
Sure.
Mike's talking about confidence for all you kids out there looking to woo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just throw on some confidence, and then we get into Cake Dom territory, the natural next place to go.
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that.
of course.
And so that's what the apron's for.
Great. Well, that is available for all of your holiday gifting needs. Check it out, MaximumFun.org. Let's see what else. People are wondering what we're going to do after this, since this is the finale. We're going to do the Bake Off holidays. So literally right after we record this, we're going to record our drafts for the holiday episodes. That'll take us through December. And I'm right now I'm kind of leaning toward Junior Bake Off in January.
Ooh, children.
Yeah,
It's
I like
fun.
children,
It's
yeah.
fun. It's a lot. You get a lot more points for stuff hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Those kids are dropping things left and right.
Yes.
Sure, they gotta.
Those judges are eating floor cake all day.
Scoop scrape it
day.
up the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yummy. You
So
know,
that's
you get
what I'm
those
leaning toward.
extra salts from the earth.
It's extra minerals.
Yes.
Okay, we can do this really quickly. We have a lot to talk about, but I just want to catch you up, Iffy, because you were gone last week. So we talked over some of the names that some of our fans have written in for like what our fandom should be
okay.
called. So just quickly at a glance, Zach suggested fantasy foodies.
Ooh.
It's right there.
Okay, all
It
right,
tells you
yeah.
exactly what they
Good
are.
Yeah,
reaction.
yeah, I like that.
Both Danae and Kim both wrote in with sous chefs.
Cute.
Okay, makes sense in a
Okay,
kitchen
I like that,
context.
yeah.
Sure, not bad. Josh, I kind of love this one. Josh suggested pots and pans,
Okay.
as in friends and fam.
Yeah.
What's up, pots and pans? Okay. Vanessa just suggested the League, classic.
Okay.
Can't really go wrong with the
Yeah,
classic. Daniel gave us the history of rotisserie,
Okay.
but sort of I think was implicitly endorsing rotisserants or rotis, which was a
Okay.
previous suggestion. And recently, Bill wrote in with two variations: fantasizers, little kinky,
Whoa.
All right.
or fantasians.
Fantasians.
Oh.
I don't hate.
Yeah, yeah.
I like. I am a fan of Fantasia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you
Yeah.
and I are both
I
Asian.
think.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
that
that's right.
feels like
Fant.
I just know there's like an ERG Disneyland group that's called Fantasians.
There's
Fair,
gotta be.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fantasians,
Might be
ERG,
taken.
Yeah.
Asian life.
They're
in
picking
the
one
park.
day a year to all go to the park at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yeah.
those Disney gangs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's Disney gangs. There's Bats Day, which is the
Oh.
goth day.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, Bats Day is the goth day at Disneyland.
Okay,
and
that's a
there's
good
the
one.
gay day.
Uh-huh. Everyone knows Dapper Day. That's sort of
Dapper
like the
Day, yeah.
level one. If you don't know what we're talking about, you don't live in Southern California or Florida,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing.
That's
That's a
Yeah, yeah,
compliment.
probably
yeah.
it's for the best, I guess.
So we don't have to decide now, but those are the options on the table.
I
And if
mean,
you
yeah,
have more
that's great.
suggestions, hit us up on Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League or send us an email, chef@maximumfun.org. Okay, let's talk about the finale, or they say the final. I guess finale isn't a thing there.
Yeah.
I kept typing finale, and then I'd have to delete the E. They brought everyone back, which is fun.
Yes.
I love seeing the carnival garden party. I love seeing the old contestants. I want to talk about Jeff, because Jeff was back.
Oh my God, Jeff is back. He's alive. He's well. He
He's
looked
not
like
dead.
Yeah, he looked
looked
okay.
healthy.
I'd say-
yeah, he
yeah,
looked
yeah.
better. I think.
Well, who was the other old guy? Because he didn't look.
Oh.
He was alive. I wouldn't say well.
Uh-oh.
Who's the
Well,
other old
I know
guy?
there's Jeff. I mean, there's Hazel. She.
No,
she
it was like-
fine though.
There was like another old guy
Old
they
guy?
showed, and like let me look at the.
Andy.
I mean, Andy's like our age, I think.
Yeah,
he
he
just
doesn't
has
look
like
that old.
British
Oh,
skin.
that was Jeff. that was Jeff who looked like he was
Yeah,
dying.
yeah. No, you're thinking of Jeff. Yeah, yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah,
oh,
Jeff, yeah,
I'd
the
say alive.
American.
I would not say well.
Okay. I mean, we were just so concerned he was going to walk into the woods and die on
Yeah,
the spot
yeah.
after
I wasn't
he
sure that
left.
wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's good to see that he returned. I still, oh man, I still thought it was so funny when Noel had that when they were just seriously talking like who's in line for Star Baker, like an
Oh,
episode or
last
two ago.
week, yeah.
And he was like, and do you think Jeff could still get it?
That one, I was like
That
right
was
on the
so
line
funny.
of like, are we picking on Jeff? I don't
Oh,
wanna pick
they
on
are.
him.
They are. But they knew he was alive and well, I guess. That was
Yeah.
an Easter egg. We
Alive.
didn't know. Good, I'm glad.
If he on the phone, alive.
Wikipedia.
Breaking news,
Not
alive.
yet.
Yeah,
Dead.
just double checking Jeff. Yep. Yeah, no.
What are you looking at, a picture of him?
It was confirming. Yeah, I looked at a picture of him, and the video footage we saw of Jeff, that man was holding it together. This is alive and well.
Yeah, no, that's his
Alive
like
and-
official
and
screenshot.
well.
That was
or
like
well.
his
Yeah,
headshot.
his portrait.
That's like maybe post makeup.
Yeah, that goes.
If this man
Oh my god.
was coughing,
I don't
want
to pick on him.
Yeah,
I'm
He's
not picking on him. I'm
You're
concerned.
just saying you're not surprised he was sick.
He made it through, but sure, maybe it's more about health on the inside.
Yeah. He's got a jovial heart, and that's what
Yeah.
matters on this show.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
They're good.
Okay, yeah, big carnival, a lot of fun. I want to talk about Noel's sweater, which, if you feel like you've got the expertise here, I want to guess is like a furry adjacent sweater. It was like
An abs.
yeah, but like it was like a wolf. It was
Yeah.
like sexy wolf.
Sure, there were like some nips.
My fiance's dog has a dog toy that is like a buff wolf. That's what I think Noel's sweater was.
It did have like so much muscle, and
Yeah.
it was so like
I
and
loved
then
it.
it goes inward a little bit.
Yeah,
So much
yeah.
so that you're like, this might be
Yeah.
somebody who like really is running through the woods, on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
getting the answer.
Yeah, what that is, what that was.
Yeah.
And to remind everyone, earlier in the season, someone was like, there's an Instagram account that's like, here's Noel's outfits, and they source all of them. I haven't checked it recently, but like in the middle of the season, it had not been updated, so they're not.
Oh, psh.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. There's like
To be clear, yeah, I'm speaking of all this in a complimentary way. I love that sweater.
It's the Loverboy
Stylish.
Beast pink jumper.
beast.
Okay.
Loverboy Beast pink jumper.
Now
It's only
is-
$68. I might have to get
Wow.
some
Oh, okay.
for all of us. Oh, we never saw the back.
Oh, the back rocks.
Oh, okay, that makes it worth it.
Yeah,
I
the
think.
back makes it
Yeah.
look like you're
68
like
only?
a sexy BoJack Horseman character.
Yeah, totally in that world. Yeah. I will say for the Instagrams of I was following some of the bakers finally after, like I just hadn't really followed all of them along the way. And as far as like who's blowing up and has some of the best content, Nelly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she's probably the most fun follow if anybody wants to.
What is her
check
content
out.
nowadays?
I mean,
social media
she's-
corner with Sierra.
She's leaning into her great personality, which we all loved on
Yeah.
the show.
Amazing.
Totally a standout. She posted a reel recently that she I think accidentally posted twice, but both of them got a lot of views. That was
That's
like her
impressive.
identical ones. It's like her wishing her American fans happy Thanksgiving,
Cute.
and she's like she's running or it's I don't know. It's really unique to Nelly, and I think that's what makes it good. That's what they say. I almost had an aneurysm. That's what they say about social media is that you got to lean into yourself, and
That's
I think she
right.
does that very well.
Okay, that's good. Conversely, since you've been looking at all their social medias, who has the worst social media presence right now?
Oh God. No, I would say I didn't look into everybody's, but
Okay.
I don't know. I guess it'd be like Jeff or Hazel because they're probably just not on
They're
it.
just not on it. They have better
But
things to do.
I didn't follow them because they didn't come up as like you don't follow this guy too. You don't follow this.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So yeah. So I'd guess maybe I haven't seen everybody's yet.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. All right. Okay, let's talk about the episode. They each get their little intro package. Here are the bullet points. They said Dylan is the flavor king. He's only 20 years old, but so far in the season, he's got 3 handshakes and 2-star bakers. So they're a little bit like, look, here's the front runner,
Here's the star. Prepare.
and that is how I feel. Going in, I was like, Dylan's got it in the bag, hands down.
Yeah. You kind of hoped because he kind of deserved the spotlight, and I did like how in his package and also in Christian's they both had like baby pictures of them actually baking. What the
Adorable.
heck? How do they have
Adorable.
that?
Loved it. Georgie's intro package. She's never had a handshake, but she has had a pat on the shoulder, a Paul pat. She's had 2-star bakers, and I feel like they're hammering on this point of like she wants it the most, which you can kind of feel, but I will also say she was much chiller in the finale than I thought she would be.
Yeah.
For as much like sort of like high-strung anxiety as I think she has demonstrated, I was surprised at how sort of like lax and like cool with it she was in the finale,
I feel like because she got a lot of it out in the previous episode. You know? It just helps you get over that a little bit and realize that, you have been there. It's just, the first jitters or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like getting that out. But also, I feel like it is weird to be like, she wants it the most. It's like, what? Because she seems the most desperate?
I know.
But like, they could all
she
internally be
want-
pretty
yeah.
desperate. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a weird narrative spin to put on any contestant.
Yeah, she wants it more than anybody. She needs this.
Her
life is incomplete without it.
Brutal.
Christian got the Always the Bridesmaid edit. No technical wins, no star bakers until last week. Got his first star baker last week. And they hammered on the point that he's always experimenting with his wacky flavors.
Yeah. His taste, weird.
They hate his flavor.
Everything just short of the word weird. They're like, yeah, it's out there.
This is very you, Christian.
They did say that this episode.
Yeah.
All right, the signature bake was to make 24 scones, or scuns as they keep saying in their accent.
Oh my gosh, I scream. Scuns.
Yeah,
Scuns. Scuns. Because they can say cone. They've said cone before. So it's a choice.
24 scuns, 12 savory, 12 sweet, and a filling to complement each batch. So 6 plain and 6 filled.
And so for those who are listening and don't watch the show, just listen for the love of the game. Scones are biscuits for them. They make biscuits.
Sort of.
They those are basically biscuits.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Looks like.
But I think that there are different standards for what makes a good scone versus what makes a good biscuit. Because you kind of want your scone to have like a bit of dryness and snap to it, whereas you want your biscuit to be like soft and fluffy and pillowy.
Yeah.
Yeah, buttery. Yeah, it does think like scones to me are. I don't think I've ever had maybe what would be considered a good scone, but like it is always really dry. Well, I'm.
You just openly insulted everyone who's ever given you a scone in your entire life.
Well, like I don't think I've had many scones, but places I've gone is probably just here. I haven't been to like a British bakery where having a scone. I mean, I might have, and that was probably good. But I feel like the characteristic is like it's gonna be dry. You better lather it up with some cream.
As someone who's tried British things out here and was like, oh, maybe it's because it's out here. It's usually no. That's how it's supposed to be.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was trying to.
If you had a bad scone, they nailed it.
Just trying to be nice.
This challenge really, I mean, the whole episode was stressful, but the way I know we've talked about it, but the way they edit the finale of just like the music, it's all so intense.
Minimal jokes, joking around. Yeah.
Damien eggs on Zooms.
Damien.
Christian made curry and coconut scones. So the savory ones were curry. Everything here: curry, mustard, chili, onion, whipped feta, parsley, pine nuts. And the sweet ones were coconut, clotted cream, passion fruit, lime. Prue, unsurprisingly, not excited about the chili spice. Made a little joke about running away.
So, oh man, that might kill me.
And honestly, it might.
Sure.
She's an older British woman.
Yeah.
Spice might kill her.
Yeah.
Christian said he's never made a scone before practicing for this week, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
But then we do his package and we learn he hasn't been baking that long. So we meet Nick, his partner.
Yeah.
Who talks about how he comes home from work and Christian's there just shoving 3 cakes in his face.
Yeah. In his mouth. That's what he said.
Yeah. Which is adorable.
Yeah.
And look, we would all be so lucky.
I mean, yeah, there are worse things.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw that cake in my face as soon as I walk through the door.
Yeah. Good.
All of our partners take note.
Yeah. Hope you're watching.
So they met 6 years ago, and Nick is the one who introduced Christian to Bake Off.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have been baking longer than 6 years, which is altogether not that long.
But then you had the baby picture.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
I don't know
yes,
what that
you're
was.
right. I guess it's like he could have been baking his whole life, but did not think about
Bake Off.
Right.
Yeah.
Of
prior to
level.
6 years ago. Talked a little bit about struggling with anxiety, which is nice to see. Love a relatable moment.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I wrote this because I'm interested in this. We've been saying Christian because that's how they say it, and he has 2 A's, like Dutch Christian. Nick was like Christian, and I was like,
oh, I missed that.
Yeah, me too.
you could have just said it normal this whole time?
Yeah.
Wow. Could have saved us a lot of time.
A lot of...
Oh, yeah.
As I'm furiously typing notes as I'm watching the episode, the double A always gets me, and I'm like, I could have just been saying Christian this whole time.
Christian. Wow.
I don't know why y'all keep calling him Christian.
The other weird thing I noticed about Christian's little package was everyone else got their whole families involved. His was like, it's just Nick talking about how much he loves his partner. Yeah. And then at the very end, they kind of showed like his family coming in for a party, and I was like, why aren't we hearing from them? Did they not want to be on camera?
Maybe.
Probably. Yeah, they might be part of, G13.
What's G13?
The FBI for British people.
Is that really?
I think it's the MI.
Oh, MI.
MI6?
Yeah, that too. MI6. MI6. They might be part of the MI6.
What?
G13.
Oh, like he can't show his real. What's a G13? He can't show his real family because he's top
he's a secret agent.
Baker,
but they weren't going to be like, you can't go on Bake Off.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
national
yeah.
treasure.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, you can. Yeah, spill all our secrets.
So
for this
you can
one
go to the
competition.
garden party, but you can't talk in the package.
I wonder if he. Like, I do also think it's like, okay, Dylan's like a child still, so he's going to, of course, show his parents. And then, like, Georgie has
got a family.
kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So them, it's sort of like, well, this is the stage of life. It's like he's
Right.
mainly spending time with his partner and stuff.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
We also learned that Georgie's whole name, Georgina.
Georgina. So
yeah.
cute. Okay, we'll get there. Hold on. We got to wrap up Christian here.
Okay.
Which won't take
Christian.
long because Christian's whole edit this whole episode was like smooth sailing.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't really show any struggle. It's just like, here he is doing well.
Yeah.
But he's always kind of been like that. Like, I feel like even
That's
last
true.
episode, he was the least stressed. And overall, he's always had his little schedule. And he's like, it's my free 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's always been on top of things. It's just his flavors that suck in the end.
Yeah.
No, but he
You heard
really,
the phrase
like,
strong
delivers.
and wrong?
You
know what I'm talking about?
I guess so. Yeah,
Make a decision even if you're not sure. Strong and wrong is the way to go. That's Christian's methodology. He's like, I'm going to execute exactly what I want. And this is exactly how I intended for it to be. And then they taste it and they're like, we don't like this.
Yeah.
It's almost, I mean, because he's really on top of things, attention to detail. He, like, has his plan. It always looks really good. Like,
Yes,
I don't know. He rarely makes big mistakes.
Yeah, so for his bake here, they did say it looked very uniform. The curry ones, they said it was a lot going on, maybe a little bit doughy. Coconut one, delicious, baked well, maybe a little bit liquid, but
Nice.
they didn't raise any. As soon as he started listing all the ingredients, where he's like chili and cheese and mustard, I was like, uh-oh. But they liked it. Didn't really cause a huge problem. All right, let's talk about Georgie. Afternoon tea scones. On the savory side, whipped soft cheese, olive tapenade, anchovies. Love it. I love an anchovy. Have we talked about this, you guys, anchovy people?
No, I'm not an anchovy.
I feel like
guy.
most
I'll
Americans.
put it in a dressing.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Sure,
Yeah, like if
Caesar
it's like
salad.
it's
But
Caesar
yeah,
salad,
I don't know
but
if I could just, like, face it.
yeah, especially when they
Is that
try and do those deconstructed and they're like, surprise anchovy, and
Whoa.
that's where
I
I'll have.
see.
That's when I'll have an anchovy. But yeah, one time I was like, I'm gonna get anchovies on pizza because everyone makes fun of how bad it is, and I was like, oh,
It's
it is bad.
delicious. No.
I don't know
It's
if I
like
can go.
salty and oily and
But it's
just-
like fish.
I love it. I think that there was like a trope when we were kids that was like, ew, anchovies on pizza.
Yeah.
Sure.
But like before that, whatever cartoon initiated that, before that, anchovies on pizza was an option at the pizza place. It couldn't have been that unpopular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the pilot of SpongeBob, what are those? Anchovies or sardines?
Sardines, I think.
Sardines. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Take that reference, throw it right
Never
out.
mind. Well, I was trying to think cartoons, antagonizing
Yeah.
anchovies or
I think
sardines.
because the other one I can think of is like liver and onions for some reason was always a big punchline on Nickelodeon in the
Yeah.
90s,
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
like, it's not that bad.
Right. We all know what happened to
I don't know.
Nickelodeon after
That's
that.
true. Yeah, speaks volumes.
Trying to distract from some other bad things.
Anyway, justice for anchovies. I think anchovies are great. I'm a big tinned fish person in general.
Okay, I
That's
like
good.
tin fish. You got me back.
Yeah, yeah.
Anchovies,
That's good,
they can stay outside the house.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to get your omega-3s. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Georgie's sweet scones were raspberry and passion fruit. Okay, in her package, we talked about this. Her name is Georgina.
Yeah.
Love to see it. We meet her whole family. She talks about how she makes a mess in the kitchen. Her husband cleans it up. And she's like, he's seen a different side of me. I've seen a different side of him where he's in more of a supporting role. I'm like, that's cute. That's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Feels like a healthy marriage.
Yeah. It really seemed like a big familial change. They were like, well, I just had to say goodbye to the kids, and then he's all like, I'm gonna take on this role. It's like, whoa, you guys really like went through a shift in a good, in a very demonstrable way.
Well, no. I
way.
think the thing you're bugging out is like, damn, you not helping out with the kids at all?
I know.
Sure.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that is unsaid. Is I don't want to. I'm not here to comment on like traditional gender roles.
I am.
I'm just saying that like when there is a drastic change in any family and the other person picks up the weight, that's nice
it's
to
very
see.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
you gotta
I
be
think we don't know like the job breakdown
That's
because if
true.
she is a housewife, then that
Yeah,
would
maybe
kinda
he's an
have
ER doctor. Who knows?
I wouldn't say all
Right.
that.
He said, hey, you patients gotta wait.
There was a moment where, because she goes by Georgie and he kept going to Georgina. I was like, damn, why are you saying her whole government name? She told the show she's Georgie.
Yeah.
Why do you keep saying her whole name?
Yeah, and it's not an American show thing where it's like, well, there are 3 Chris's this season.
Right.
So
Yeah.
one's Chris, the other one's Christopher, the other one's Mert.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my god.
Mert.
Yeah.
Oh.
We saw that.
Yeah.
I was going to say shout out to Mert, but I think my shout outs to Mert are over for a bit.
Until he comes back for MasterChef All-Stars or
Oh,
whatever.
boy, yeah.
Well, you know, we saw some things. We saw some likes. From a certain
Oh, that's
Mert.
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we saw some likes from you, Mert.
Oh, and also Georgie is the first Welsh person ever to make it to the finals.
Oh, yeah. the
And
Welsh
to win.
Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now the first Welsh person to win.
Yes.
But she's doing it for Wales. Okay, Georgie talked about how it's hard to get a uniform shape with a wet filling like a raspberry inside of your scone. And sure enough, she's not happy with how they turn out. So she starts over. That is a half point for Georgie there. And she puts less raspberry into the next batch because she's like, less raspberry, less moisture, easier to form. But in the judging, they're like, this is not enough raspberry.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, trade-offs.
I guess if you're planning to do something in the final, I think Dylan did this too. Planning to do something really difficult in the final is like, I guess high risk, high reward, but I'm like, if you can't nail,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I would want to eliminate as many sort of like outside factors as possible. And if I'm like, I don't know how the raspberry is going to behave on the day, don't do a raspberry scone.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, it's also tough because it's like, what is everybody else going to do? What if you overshoot? You
That's
know, it's such a
true.
gamble. It's like, what if you undershoot and then everybody's like doing some crazy shit for the signature and you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, yeah.
I should've
You don't
gone
want to pull a Jill
harder.
and be like, I undershot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
true.
She did drop some of them, but they hit the oven door, not the floor, so I'm not going to award points
Okay.
there. And yeah, she got a lot of the edit of just like she's cutting it close. There's a bit where she leaves the freezer door open, and Noel goes over and closes the freezer door for her, and I was like, Noel gets 1 point for helping a fellow maker.
Well, I was also like, for a second, I was like, oh, I hope she wanted that closed.
Yeah.
Like, what if there's some, I don't know, some
You
strategy
gotta let
where
out
you,
steam
yeah,
in the freezer
where you
or
do like
whatever.
half open freezer, but it was fine.
Okay. I'm so sorry I keep bringing this up. On Culinary Class Wars. I just watched this challenge, which was like you have to cook using, they built a convenience store. Like you have to cook using convenience store ingredients.
cute.
And one guy, so fucking brilliant, he made a dessert. Everyone else is going savory. They're like, get the instant noodles and make a noodle dish. And granted, Korean convenience stores are different from American convenience stores. They have more like produce and stuff. But he was like, I'm going to make dessert because everyone's going to make like this salty, like stoner food dish. I'm going to make dessert. And he's like, I have this cream and I needed to cool it. So he walked over to the freezer and put it underneath an ice bag. And then he's like, and then I didn't want anyone to fuck with it. So I sat in front of the freezer and ate a chocolate bar while it was cooling down. And I was like, this guy rocks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I haven't finished the season. Don't spoil it for me if you're writing in, but I want him to win.
Hell yeah.
That's intense. So there's only one freezer there?
Well, it was just like, it was built like a convenience store. So it was
Oh,
like,
okay.
it was not
You're
a kitchen.
using
You know what I
their
mean?
Stuff. I see.
So he's
Cool.
like, how do I cool this? And he's like, well, there is like a freezer over there because you can buy ice at a convenience store.
Yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
Smart.
Let's see. Georgie is unhappy with her second batch of scones, but still has to serve them. They say some are a bit wobbly. Overall shape, not great. Anchovy, good taste. Bit tough. Raspberry. Quote, if you're going to put raspberries in there, you need a lot of them. That felt tough.
Ouchie.
Yeah. But decent job on both of them. Okay, and finally, Dylan, strawberry and salmon. For savory, he did salmon, fennel, celeriac, cream cheese. For the sweet, he did clotted cream, pickled strawberry, and chamomile.
Yeah.
Okay. We see him cooking as a kid. His Indian grandma says he's no good at cleaning up. And then they say exactly what our suspicion was. I don't know what this means, but I get the gist of it. 4 A stars at A level, and he's about to go for a degree in biomedical engineering before he drops out and decides he's going to be a cook instead. That's nerd shit, baby.
Yeah.
We called it. He was
Yeah.
a nerd.
Science.
That's a straight A,
Nerd boy.
fucking 4.0 student.
Actually.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to biomedical engineering. I'm going to go figure out how to solve medical problems for everyone. Come on.
Right. And he's 20, so what does that mean? Like he's 3 years in or like
Well,
Is he
they
pretty-
say that he never made it. He was like,
Okay.
or
Oh,
maybe
right.
started, but he
quit. Okay, cool.
He was like,
yeah,
I don't want to do this.
I mean, and then it was cute. His dad was like, well, his heart wasn't in it, you know. It wasn't like he was, you know. Well, I don't know.
Which I'll say for parents of color,
I was
going
to say, where you find immigrant parents like that? Because I need that load out.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, oh, he wasn't passionate about it, so I understand why he didn't want to do biomedical engineering.
No. Our parents were like, get back in there, finish that degree.
Right. Then we'll discuss.
When I die, you can do what you want.
You think I like what I do? You think I like what I do? I do it for you. Get your ass back in there.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, I mean, look, if you're aiming for biomedical engineering by the time you're like, 16, 17, 18, it's like you're a good kid. That means you're a nerd kid. And now we know. We have confirmation he's a hot nerd.
Yeah.
Should we talk about his like postscript epilogue now?
I mean, yeah, we can, because you saw me. I told you not to look at it.
Yeah. After I finished the episode, I was like, iffy story. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I genuinely, because I really love that. Like, he's working at a Michelin star restaurant.
I love to see it.
And that means he just got that off the strength too, because the show
hadn't come out.
Oh, yeah.
So he just did that off the strength of being a great baker. So
yeah.
I mean, I hope they just clock the fact that he is a strong, young and good at cooking and baking and everything, and like Prue gives a hookup,
No,
like,
that's
come on,
true.
Don't you have somebody?
That's true.
I mean,
don't know what
maybe
restaurant he's working at, but if Prue had said,
this is a bright young star, like hire this guy, and like he wanted to be a chef, so it's kind of cool to see that he's like going down that path instead of just getting pigeonholed for baking or whatever.
Yeah, and I can't wait for 10 years from now when he opens his own restaurant, the Eater article is like former Great British Bake Off contestant.
Right. I mean, he'll be like, what was that, Salt Bae kind of? He could kind of use the thirst traps in conjunction with,
okay.
The food,
Not the greatest
promote.
Comparison, because Salt Bae's restaurants are notoriously bad.
Oh, okay.
But I saw
sure,
the
marketing.
Yeah,
the marketing
from a marketing
kind
side,
of,
yes.
Yeah, a Salt Bae version that's actually good.
Yeah.
Let me get I'm seeing if he posted the restaurant, because that'd be.
I feel like he wouldn't, because that would
dangerous.
That would disrupt business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then a bunch of people would come and just trying to look inside the kitchen. He's like, I'm back here making sauce. Like,
he's already on another show called Extra Slice.
Oh, Extra Slice is just the after show.
Oh, never mind.
I haven't watched.
Interview.
I don't even know if we get it here.
And
again, we've talked about other shows on this podcast where some people are like, if you log on to this website, you can see it. And I'm like, I'm not interested in chasing it down. I just mean if it came on after Netflix, I would watch it.
Right. I don't want to need to hack the mainframe to fucking see Dylan on some
Right. Exactly.
Show.
Yeah.
God, he doesn't post it. He should though. But you know what? He ain't smart. If you look, he's probably following the restaurant.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, if he's doing the deep dive,
blow up his spot.
Yeah, we won't tell you here, but we'll go.
Yeah. We're gonna fly in. Okay. While you're looking that up, Dylan, his scones also look like shit, so he did start over. That is a half point there. And he asked Christian for help. Christian obliged, so that is 1 point for Christian for helping a fellow baker. And they did look like a mess. I mean, he finished, and I was like, I'm shocked Dylan put out such a bad product. They looked really bad.
Yeah, ran out of time. I mean, there was some loose salmon flopping about.
You never want loose salmon. The judges did say it was really messy. For the salmon scone, they said it was light and the fennel works. It was delicious. Strawberry, not strawberry enough. Not enough chamomile or strawberry. They said it was just sort of weak.
Maybe the pickling element kind of just cuts out. You
would think that would make it even more intense, though. Pickling usually it's
bring
more
out
flavor.
The flavor. Yeah. Something canceled out. I mean, I love a salmon, savory thing. So I bet I liked the vision.
Yeah. I liked where he was going. It's just shocking to see the Flavor King not deliver on flavor. Oof. You know what I mean?
Oof. Who are you king of now?
Okay, so I have been able to. Whittle it down to
live detective research.
10 at restaurants. Either he's at Bocan London 37.
All right.
Which, or Restaurant 22, Cambridge.
Okay.
Patara Restaurants.
Okay.
Which seems like a restaurant group, so.
Sure.
I don't think this is Donde Carlos Restaurante, Restaurant Jordanaire.
Are all of these Michelin starred?
Ooh, good.
So that's how you cross-reference.
Wow.
So we'll do the rest off air.
Yeah.
We found you. We got him, boys.
We're going to do a whole bonus content episode where it's just us trying to track down where Dylan works.
Yeah. I'd like your greatest cake.
You don't have a baker on staff, you say? I believe you do.
Let us back there.
We see our pictures on the door.
Don't let these three in.
Yeah.
Forcibly removed.
Oh, boy. Okay, the technical challenge was to make an afternoon tea display with 4 individual lemon sandwich cakes, 4 strawberry tarts, and 4 platted egg and cress rolls.
Beautiful.
You know what time it is. It's time for our patented L.A. restaurant tangent.
Oh, okay.
Have y'all been to Chateau Tea House yet?
No.
Ooh, I think when I was little.
Yeah, native.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Is this what I do?
It's in there's one in Pasadena, and
Okay.
it does like the traditional tea style, like it's like a tea
cute.
house.
Okay.
And so,
Are you saying chata like an Indian word?
no, like chado?
Chado.
Chado.
Okay, sure.
And so they come around with different teas, so it's almost like Brazilian barbecue style, where like if you have a certain
Oh.
one, you can try as many
That's
teas as
fun.
you want, but you can order the tea party
yeah.
set where it has the layers just like
Yeah.
that. So
That's cute.
okay.
I haven't been to
So
that, but
fun.
I have been to the one at Huntington Gardens.
Ooh,
The Huntington
Ooh.
Gardens has like a tea room, and you can do traditional tea services.
that's awesome.
It's
Fancy.
excellent. It's great.
Huntington Gardens also they go to holiday mode where they put the lights on all their.
Oh, I've
Oh,
never
I'm
been
sure.
during the
Oh,
holidays.
it's so good. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. Ooh, shout out another tea room, Tea Rose Garden in Pasadena. That's close. I think it's across the street from Chato. There's a real tea off in like Raymond Avenue
Yeah.
in Old Town Pasadena.
Wow.
But
Chateau
that's
Tea
a
Room. I
cute
said
one.
tea house, but it's tea
Oh,
room.
tea room.
But it
Okay.
is.
And what's the
Chateau.
name of this one?
Tea Rose Garden.
Tea Rose Garden.
So, I feel like it's fun to dress up and go and do
Yeah.
like little princess time, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take over
Here we go.
your winner's dinner, but I think we got to do this Christmas tea menu.
Oh.
Are you ready for it?
Okay.
It's $69, nice per person.
This is Chato.
Yeah, Chato. Starter: holiday spice tea,
Okay.
cream of tomato soup,
Love it.
miso roasted vegetable soup,
Okay.
baby mixed greens, apples, walnuts, feta cheese with balsamic vinegar dressing. Main 3-tier rack of
Yeah.
6 holiday finger sandwiches.
That's what you want.
Smoked salmon, sun-dried tomato chicken salad, English cucumber,
Okay.
tea marinated egg salad, pesto mozzarella, Waldorf arugula, and dessert assorted pastries, cranberry orange or gingerbread scone,
Scun.
served with Chato cream and jam, and the
Okay.
tea is Noel, gingerbread cookie, and red Christmas.
I want to go.
I mean, yeah, if you're willing.
We're
I'd
going
go.
tonight.
Yeah, I know. Are y'all open?
Okay, they talked about how this was a difficult challenge because there was so much to do. I mean, you're making 3 individual
Yes.
dishes, and you got to make them all perfect. So, like, if you mess up one thing, it's just the snowball effect.
Right. And they're so
Oh my
delicate and
gosh, I know.
small. It's like real
Mhm.
like dexterity lessons.
Yeah.
here.
You had to do the tiny plats.
Mhm.
Everyone hated plats earlier in the season. Now they're back. Yeah, and also as I was taking notes on this, I'm like, there's nothing really to take notes on. This was just edited as sort of like, these people are very busy. Like, that was...
For sure. Lots to do.
Yeah, not a lot of plot points. It was just like cuts of people being like, I got to do this now.
Right. And like placing the little, pastry around that little flour tin, right?
Mhm.
And like, oh, the trunk. Oh, like I was like, oh, wow, that's what happens. You always see those little things in fruit tarts. Like if you go
Yeah.
and get, I'm like, oh, how did, it's so beautiful. But it's like, oh, yeah, I guess you got to get a tin like that. And then you
Right.
got to place it evenly around the thing. Just
Right.
very delicate stuff.
Very delicate stuff. Okay, in order from worst to first, in third place, getting a half point, is Dylan, who has never made an afternoon tea. Speak on it.
He was just fumbling throughout this whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
He was so like it was so we talked about the foreshadowing of where they're like if it's like you get in your head and then you start going bad, and I think ever since the signature didn't go his way, he's just beating himself up.
Yeah.
Like it's wild that you can witness someone like, oh, you are
Yeah.
still in your own head
Yeah.
and you're not taking a step back, resetting, and I'm just watching this snowball.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's really hard to watch. It's really hard to watch someone have the yips in real time.
It does. It's feel. I think I saw this in some viral video, but it's like if you're having a bad day and then like your sleeve catches on a doorknob, you're like, God, it's
Right,
like
yeah,
10
yeah.
times worse because
Yeah.
you're just like, and that or
Yeah.
your pocket.
Yeah.
That
and
happens to
it,
me
like,
all the time,
Yeah, and
yeah.
if you're having a good day, you're just like, oh, oops.
Yeah,
But if you're
like,
having a
"This
bad
is
day,
so-"
you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that could just same thing, but instead of doorknob, it's pastry.
Right. Yeah. Just like I can't get like this nozzle on the piping bag or
And then,
whatever.
oh, that's all screwed,
Yeah.
know. It's tough.
Yeah, he kept doing that. He said something about like his eggs, where he's like, "Oh, they're a little like soft boiled," and I was like, "That you're mashing them up. It doesn't matter." You know what I mean?
That brings me up to something else. That brings up something else I was thinking during this part. I think that America's the one that fucked up the egg salad. You know, we shit on British food here a lot.
Interesting.
Well, because their egg salad, the way they were making it, this egg was very similar closely to the Japanese style, where it's very fluffy. And I think, you can't beat Japanese egg salad.
Oh, it's
Whereas
the
I
best.
feel like the American egg salad, like if you see an egg salad sandwich at a 7-Eleven out here, you're
That's
like,
a hard pass.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you will not pass up an egg salad you
That's
shouldn't
true.
at 7-Eleven out in Japan.
That's a good point.
And like you would think it's like, oh, it's because this is like, oh no, it's very different because our egg salad is very like chopped
Mayo
up boiled
forward.
egg,
Yeah.
where the egg really sings, and it seems like this version does it the same too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is the one I have to give to them.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know what, Britain, you've got one food thing, one food point on the board.
Yeah.
And
have
it's something
fun
Japan
with
does
it.
equally as well. So
I'd say
you're on
better.
notice. For the lemon cakes, Georgie and Christian both decided to do 8 individual cakes. Dylan did 4 fat ones, then it was like, I'll cut them in half, and that backfired on him. They sank in the middle. He started over, but you only get awarded points for a rule once per episode, so he doesn't get extra points. But he did start over again. And then on the second round, he's like, oh, no, they're doing it again. And I was like, buddy, make 8 individual ones. What are you doing?
I know. Just watching the failure happen, where it's like, you're not looking around, you're not seeing whatever. Because also, it is exactly the reason why he was failing, because he was doubling up the ingredients, he was putting too much baking powder, so it was.
They did have a cool shot in this segment of him doing 2 things at once. He was one hand was stirring, other hand was like, I don't know, egg washing or something.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's just
Pretty
good
cool.
television right there.
That's why they hired him at the Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, look what I can do.
2
I can
for the
multitask.
price of 1.
Pat my tummy and rub my head at the same time or whatever. They said his bread was not good. There was no height in the strawberries. Sponge, not his best. Which is...
That almost hurts more than not good. When he was like, not your
not
best.
your best.
You're like,
yeah.
God.
It's like your parents saying they're disappointed. They're not
Yeah.
mad, they're
Oh, right.
disappointed.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah, and he really took it. They've talked about this on the show where he wears his heart on his sleeve, and when he's disappointed, you can really see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, those big ass eyes don't really hide a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, second place getting 1 point was Georgie. This is the point in the episode where I was like, Georgie's having a surprising amount of fun, because there's this bit where Allison and Georgie are like dancing together, and I was like, she's really. It's like you said, she got it out last episode.
Mm-hmm.
She got all the nerves out last episode. Now she's like, let's just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Quite a contrast.
They said that hers were neat. They all looked the same. The roll, lovely. The tart pastry was a little overbaked, and she kind of fucked up the strawberry design on top, but that's okay. Sponge, they loved. They said the lemon curd was a winner. Little overbaked, but not too bad. In first place, getting a 1.5 points, Christian, finally pulling ahead.
Finally the bride.
Finally the bride. His first in technical.
Wow.
Which is hard to believe. But they said he did great. A note that I wrote for myself, the way he cuts his bread stresses me out, because he does it in his hand, like an avocado.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Cutting toward the hand, not away.
Em was losing her mind watching that. She was like, no!
Yeah. You know what I mean? People go to the hospital every year from avocado cuts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
man,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, one time I was just using like a butter knife to cut a lemon, and I cut through my finger. You know.
With a butter knife?
I don't know what happened. I think as I was holding the lemon like this, but the butter knife
Oh.
had serration on it.
Oh.
And, and it was fine. I didn't have to go to the hospital, but it was just
Okay.
like, classic stuff.
I know
You think
people who have
you're
gone to the
doing
hospital
fine.
for avocado.
Yeah, that makes sense because you're really like the palm. That's like a real,
Yeah.
more, cute.
What?
I was gonna say capillaries.
Okay.
Okay,
What?
All right.
What
yeah.
are the things? I was gonna say wires. I think I'm a robot. More wires.
more
in
wires in
that,
that
region.
part of the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I use specifically an avocado slicer,
Mm.
which has
Oh.
the and
Yeah,
then it has
yeah.
the thing for the.
Oh yeah, I have
pit.
one of those. The green
Sure.
and black thing.
Yes.
I just use the counter.
Safety.
I just cut downward toward wood or cutting board instead of my hand, you know?
Yeah, well, the avocado
Well-
slicer does it a little more cleaner. It
Sure,
pulls
yeah.
the-
Look, and you're talking to someone who never cooks, but I am a firm believer in the Alton Brown there are no unitaskers in the kitchen. The only unitasker in the kitchen is the fire extinguisher. Everything else is like you can just.
Well, I use a fire extinguisher for a little extra cream on my toast.
Okay, I was
for one second I believed you, and I was like, you can do that?
Good.
And then I realized I was in a room full of comedians.
Oh, you know.
Got a goof.
Hey, guess it wasn't funny enough to be funny.
They're not all going to be hits.
They're not all
when you're pumping them out at the rate that we are.
Sometimes the brain doesn't work as fast as the mouth. That's
what I learned. They're not ready for us.
The Showstopper challenge was to make a hanging cake. Had you guys heard of a hanging cake prior to this?
Not at all.
No, it
Never
was
in my
ridiculous.
Life. Yeah. I mean, like, cool and impressive. But then once I Googled it, I was like, I guess people do this. This is not.
Nobody needs that.
Yeah.
It seems like it's solely made for, like, in a window display, and, like, that has to be the only reason.
A lot of the results that I mean, maybe this is my algorithm too, but it was tuned because it's tuned to weddings. But a lot of the results I got were like, yeah, our wedding had a hanging cake.
Right.
But that falls into the same category of just like, it looks cool, but
sure, take a
what?
photo.
Yeah. It also feels like a disaster waiting to happen.
I mean, Christian doing the
my
hook,
God, he had to tilt his whole cake 45 degrees to get it on the hook.
And every time he missed, it was like, it's going to like slingshot itself to the ceiling.
And they're heavy. So, okay, I did the math on this. At some point, Georgie said hers is going to be 8.5 kilos, which for Americans is 18.7 pounds.
Damn.
Oh, that's a lot heavier.
That's a heavy-ass cake.
I mean, no wonder they're on thick, like,
steel
metal.
bars.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah. What was also wild, too, is what was Dylan doing, man? I'm looking at everyone else's cake design, and it's like these like very, and he went with like, it's the stones of this.
I mean,
I think if he had been able to do what he wanted to do, it would have been cool. Okay, let's talk about it. So Dylan, his bake was called The Colors of Murano, inspired by his travels to the Italian fishing town of Murano. Mascarpone, candied orange, Earl Grey, and he wanted to do isomalt glass blowing. And when they showed us the picture of Murano, I'm like, okay, I see a color palette, I see geometrical shapes, like I know what he's going for. And then they showed the rendering of his cake. I'm like, the cubes and like the sort of like broken like
paint
stucco.
thing. Stucco.
And then he made moss. He managed to get the moss. And he's like, I have to forego the glass blowing. But I'm like, I can kind of see the inspiration.
Yeah, I see the inspiration, but it's like you forego the one thing that was making it all come together, you know? Whereas like if you like you just overcomplicated it. Make a really good fucking cake, especially when you put cakes are your weakness. You're in the final, it's your weakness. Go very simple. Go you what Dylan does well is that he makes very tasty, flavorful things. Yeah. And I think everything he did this episode lost sight of that. Yeah. You were trying so hard to be impressive that you forgot that you just make good pastries.
Do what you do well.
Do what you do well. Yeah. Just focus on doing a good, like our boy Tom Colicchio says, make a good fucking steak or some shit.
Yeah.
One thing.
Stop cooking.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Okay, so this is another point. Is Dylan said, even though I messed up Genoese sponge last week, I'm going to do Genoese sponge. And I was like, why? Do anything else.
Yeah.
Reclaiming.
Speaking of Top Chef, that thing of trying to do the thing that you did wrong to be like, I can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is it for?
Yeah.
You're in the final.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, Dylan was the last to get his cakes in the oven. Everyone else already baking, and he was still struggling. And when they came out, this really broke my heart. They all had clumps of flour in it.
I know.
Which is so... And he wasn't even surprised. He was like, I knew it.
There it is. Yeah.
And it looks so bad.
Yeah, I didn't realize what he was talking about exactly, and then it was like, oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Visually, it's like you slice open the cake, and it's like, here are these little pockets of just dry powder.
Yeah.
You want to know what would have subverted that? Doing a regular ass cake.
Yeah.
And not trying to do with the thing that you know you failed at.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I hope that Dylan is seeing a therapist now.
Well, he don't have time. He's working.
That's true. He's working in a Michelin-star restaurant. That's like 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
So he ran behind both Georgie and Christian. Point of clarification, he did make more cake, but he did not use it as a substitute, so I'm not going to qualify it as starting over. He didn't start anything over. He just made more than he needed. So no points there. He wouldn't have gotten it anyway. Because he already started a bunch of things over.
Right.
Yeah.
It looked so much... By the time they were all done, it looked so much worse than the other two. That was like, he's simply not going to win.
Yeah.
Up to this point, I'm sort of like, there's a chance maybe he pulls it out of his ass and it looks amazing and he wins.
I was lying to myself a little bit at this point where I looked at him. I was like, sometimes they do it based off of the whole season, right? And she's like, yeah, sometimes they do it. And then they want to lie in that thing where it's like, it could be anyone's game to win. I'm like,
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like the sketch of his looked really cool because of the cube element.
Yeah.
And then I think because he had those little polyps of whatever, like he had to
Polyps is such a
yeah,
disconcerting way to phrase
nasty.
that.
Yeah, but it's like he had to slice it down, make it smaller. So then it's like underwhelming because it's smaller just in size. But I mean, his design was still really unique, right? Like they really liked the sort of paint
I think if he had
thing.
executed correctly to his vision, it would have been amazing. But he didn't. They called it quite abstract. You'd have to explain to everyone at the party what it was because you wouldn't be able to guess by looking at it. The Earl Grey works well. They like the candied orange, but it did need more of it. Sponge was a little concertinaed up. Layers not even. Clearly rushed, and it turned Paul's tongue blue. Okay, quickly, let's talk about the other two. Georgie made her summer garden celebration, strawberry, champagne, lemon, elderflower. The decorations, her stencil and the little like knife palette flowers, so pretty. Love the way it looked. This is her first time making a 3-tier cake. She'd never made that before. She did say you could do it without the champagne, but it's the final, and I love that spirit.
Yeah,
She's chugging from the bottle in the middle of the challenge. I'm like, I love this.
Whoa, yeah. Focus on eyes on the prize, Georgie. This
is the part of the episode where she revealed that she has ADHD. She explicitly said, I have ADHD. Talked about her brain's like a spider diagram. Iffy, does this surprise you at all as a fellow ADHDer?
No, I'm like, same vibes. We were there. Yeah, I feel you, Georgie.
Georgie did help Dylan with plating. That is +1 point for helping a fellow baker right there. And I'd like to point out she wasn't even done. She helped Dylan and then went back to her station and continued like putting on decorations.
Yeah.
Whoa, risky.
Yeah, truly. I mean, it looked like it was like, this could use a touch-up, but if it didn't, whatever. But still. They called her cake an impressive wedge. Prue shrugged and said, that is utterly delicious. And Paul said, if I got that at a summer party, I'd be a happy man. She really crushed it, knocked it out of the park.
That's when I was like, well, we know who won.
Yeah, that was sort of the point. Even though Christian's been like really steady for this episode.
Yeah, I mean.
For the first 2 challenges, I was like, Christian might win just because he is like so calm, cool, collected above the other 2 who are chaos. But once Georgie turned in that cake, I was like, it's going to be Georgie.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Christian. He made his sculpted summer cake, lemon, poppy seed, thyme, cardamom, raspberry, licorice, and a marbled chocolate. I hate licorice. Are you guys licorice people? We talked about this?
I can take it or leave it.
Anything in that family, like star anise?
Oh, like really intense.
Even
black
like
licorice
fennel, I'm
thing.
like, I could do without it.
It's totally thing that like my mom liked growing up, and so then it was sort of, it isn't, if I'm getting candy, I don't want black licorice.
Definitely
like
not.
I'm getting candy I like. And then, as I get older, I'm like, I wonder if it's kind of in a, as
acquired
taste, but also like my mom and like some of her older cousins were talking about liking things that their moms liked when they thought was disgusting. So it's like maybe as you age, it's
you're
like
coming into
you kind of want that sort of weird, more intense flavor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't mind it in liquor. I'll do like a, Cynar, Jaeger. Yeah.
Oh,
like
I see. Yes, that's right. Yeah. That can be in like aviations. Do they have that kind of like
aviation gin?
Or sorry, just like the cocktail.
The aviator.
Licorice,
Yeah.
Licorice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, aviator. Oh God, I've got Ryan Reynolds pilled. Fucking saying aviation.
We all are. America's unwillingly Ryan Reynolds pilled. Christian was going for an abstract design. They were not a fan of it. His middle tier, so he put ganache over the quote-unquote marbled chocolate, and it looked kind of bad, and he kind of knew it. Did not start over, so no points there. We already talked about getting it on the hook, so the judges called it very pretty. They liked the different shapes and sizes. Prue said, I've never tasted anything like that before. She was talking about the licorice raspberry jam. She said it's unusual, but this is not the first time you've done unusual. Paul said that the flavors were good, but too strong, almost too concentrated. You couldn't eat a whole slice of it. Good idea, though. Very Christian is what they said. So to recap, before we revealed the winner, they said Christian's flavors, very brave. He has this ability to put strange things together. Won the technical, did well in the signature, might have overdone the flavors this time. Dylan, they tried to say nice things. They're like, yeah, we loved his flavors. And then they kind of moved on. Georgie, they said it was great. The flavors are classic because they're the best. And she was a constant. And then they were like, it's closer than you think. We might have to fight about this.
No,
like,
no,
it's
no,
not.
no.
Of course, no Star Baker, no one in line for Star Baker this episode. Our winner, getting 4 points, was Georgie, the Welsh wonder.
Welsh wonder.
Here we go.
I know.
Look, so close.
I came into this finale with Christian, and I knew I wasn't going to win the league because there was no way for me to get enough points. But I was like, for a while, I was like, I think Christian might win. I might get a nice, healthy boost. I can land in second place with this. But
yeah, I mean, he was definitely the strongest for the first two,
Yeah.
and like, I don't know, Showstopper does like way more, but it did kind of feel like, well, maybe they didn't really want to give it to him because he wasn't, a front runner throughout.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, no one cried, which I was shocked about, but no tears.
Yeah, I thought Georgie was going to.
I really thought. No, she was simply ecstatic, and then Paul made her roll down a hill, which I thought was weird. I was like, I get it, it's cute, but it's also kind of weird to be like, come here, woman, roll down this hill.
Roll down this hill.
Stay true to what you promised.
I want to see you do what I want.
And then we get our postmortem. So Jeff made the cake for his son's wedding, which is adorable. That's really cute.
It looked good. It
looked good.
Amazing.
Looked
yeah.
good. Hazel works at a bakery, which, look, if any person that old who's like, I want a job, amazing.
Oh, sure.
And then to be like, I want it to be like my life's passion. Like, I love baking. I love baking so much. I went on this show, and now I want to work at a bakery.
Yeah.
Incredible. If I worked at that bakery and like a 7-year-old woman was like, I work here now, I'd be like, you're my favorite coworker.
Yeah.
So good for Hazel. John climbed a mountain. Mike still farms. Andy and Nellie went on a road trip with their families together. That's adorable. Sumaya went to college. Jill and her husband and her dog went on vacation. Eileen went to Paris with her family. Christian's mom came to visit in the UK. We already talked about Dylan getting a job at a Michelin-starred restaurant. Cute. Georgie went back to Wales, and her chicken Fanny had chicks. That's adorable. Mike had a reunion at his farm. And it looked
Amazing.
like mostly everyone was there.
And his farm looks like way more intense than I thought, because he was like plow. It was like a full
It's like a farm.
plow. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then also love that Andy and Nellie went on vacation together, because I do think they were like the personality.
Yeah,
people,
two
they
big
really,
personality hires. Yeah, that was great. And then the show dedicated its last screen to former contestant Dawn Holyoke Bailey, and the show gets a half point for dedicating the show to someone else passed away.
The true winners.
Here's our points breakdown. As a reminder, you can find our rules on our Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. The technical challenge: first place, 1.5 points, Christian. Second place, Georgie for 1 point. Third place, getting a half point, is Dylan. Both Georgie and Dylan started over. That's a half point apiece. Both Georgie and Christian helped a fellow baker. It was Dylan both times. And that's 1 point apiece. Everyone gets 3 points for making it to the finale. And the winner getting 4 points is Georgie. So this week, Iffy, you gain 4 points, which in the middle of the season would have been great.
Yeah.
Any other week, that's an amazing point get.
Yeah.
I get 5.5 points. Also would have been amazing. Sierra, you gain 9.5 points.
Yeah.
So you really pulled ahead. You didn't come from behind, but you really broke out of the pack at the end.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, I'm ending with 36.5 points. Iffy, you're ending with 38.5 points. Sierra, you're ending with 47.5 points.
Gosh.
So congratulations. For the third show in a row, you've won heartily. And you get to choose our next winner's dinner, which we'll talk about in a bonus content episode, which is available exclusively to Maximum Fun members. If you want to support the show, go to MaximumFun.org/join. That is where you can become a member for as little as $5 a month. You can also rate and review us and tell your friends, and that all helps us. Thank you all so much. Once again, you can contact us on Instagram or via email if you have anything to say about this season. Tell us how you did in your league. What G-Rez on YouTube commented today that their league isn't even close because like Dylan single-handedly has the same amount of points as the first place team in his league, or in their league.
Fair.
For full unedited episodes, you can check us out on YouTube. Thanks again to my co-hosts here, Kato and Iffy Wadiway. Right after this, we will be doing Bake Off Holidays and then probably Junior Bake Off, but we're not going anywhere, so we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. This episode was produced by Valerie Moffat and Gabe Mara. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.